about HOAs. Do you love them? Do you hate them? Do you just not really care? Do you know what they do for you? Or do you think that they are just restrictive? We're going to talk about the pros, the cons, the difference between an HOA and a community association. We're going to talk about what to look for when buying a property within a HOA. And we're also going to talk about those properties that are out there where they're structurally connected and yet there is no HOA. Now, most people associate HOAs with condos and townhome complexes, and it tends to be most common when there's a large living structure or series of large structures that have many common areas. They share things like swimming pools, parking lots, water, trash, sewer. Sometimes they're also sharing playgrounds, but they're definitely sharing roofs, siding, parking, these kinds of things. Now, the purpose of an HOA is to fairly manage and enforce. So what are they managing? They're managing the scheduling and the financing of the maintenance, right? They're making sure that the landscaping is getting done, that the trash is being picked up, that the water bill is being paid. But they're also there to enforce. So they're enforcing what are called the CC&Rs, the covenants, conditions, and restrictions that all of these communities come with. And these are rules that are set up for high density living, right? So they're going to be quiet hours, the number and types of pets you're allowed to have in your unit, parking regulations, safety regulations. They also enforce the payment of dues and fines. HOAs can either be self-managed by a group of volunteer homeowners, or they can be professionally managed by a third-party company that is from the outside. And there are pros and cons to each. So self-managed HOAs are generally much quicker to respond. They can be a little more lenient, and the administrative costs are very low because this is a team of volunteers. So you're not having to pay any salaries or overhead of a third-party company. On the other hand, there tends to be high turnover because they are volunteers, not a lot of legacy knowledge because of the high turnover. They may not have a deep understanding of the reserves and the budgets and forecasting that needs to be done, and they may not be willing to enforce some of the penalties, fines, and late fees. Of course, the professionally managed HOAs are not perfect either. They can be very slow or non-responsive at all to any kind of owner's repairs, requests, complaints, requests for documentation, especially when selling. They tend to be very inflexible. They give no grace for fees or fines. They can be difficult to work with.